So at this point, we have all read the headlines, we have all seen the tweets and trends on social media about how young women are being exploited by men in positions of power. These men are taking advantage of their positions to assault and, in effect, traumatize, scar young women for their entire life. And I've been going back and forth with myself on this topic, trying to make a video about it. I record, delete, re-record because of how sensitive this topic is. But it would be a shame if I did not voice out my thoughts and opinions about it, because almost every single female friend I have, almost all of them, have either been abused by someone they trusted, be it a teacher, a family member, or just a male figure they trusted. And in some cases, even men of God have been the perpetrators of this crazy thing. And here's the thing, aside my peers and my friends being victims of this, you can even ask the elders, you can ask your mom and other people older than us, and they are going to tell you the same story. Most females in our society have been abused as children. And if we were supposed to actually put pen to paper and go around asking people about the experiences, you would be surprised the stories and the things these women have been through. It is not a good thing. It is very sad. And this problem is not only found in our Ghanaian society. No, far from that. This is a global issue. In most places around the world, before a woman reaches maturity or before they even see their first period, a perverted grown-ass man would have tried to do something with them. Sometimes these men even go as low as trying things with infants. Like I said earlier, I know people who have been scarred for life because of this issue. A friend of mine told me about her little sister who was getting pursued by her teacher. And this girl you're talking about was 11 or 12. She was in JHS. But her teacher, who was supposed to protect and teach this little girl, was trying to take advantage of her naivety and have his way with the little girl. There's also another instance with a different friend, and this girl went to visit her teacher in his house. And I know many people on the internet will say, why do you go and visit? That's not the point. That is far from the point, because when you trust somebody, especially as a young child, you're so innocent that the thought of someone abusing you that way does not even cross your mind. So this girl went to visit her teacher, and it was after several years of knowing this particular man. Guess what? The man in question forced himself on the girl and kissed her. Can you imagine the confusion of that young child? They probably went there because they were comfortable around that man. After all, the guy was her teacher and she felt she could trust the man to protect her. But it turns out he had different plans for her all along. There are many other stories like these ones. And in my opinion, the abuse is not even the worst part. It's what you do with yourself after that. Because for most children, they do not understand what just happened. Their entire perception about life, men, and especially men in power just changed instantly. Now they do not even know who to trust. And the crazy thing is, when I talked to some of my friends, they were like, they did not even understand what had happened. They knew something happened. They had either been fondled or worse. But considering their age and naivety, they just could not understand any of it. So they internalize the trauma. They start keeping to themselves. They start isolating themselves. They do not even have the ability to describe what had happened to them. And that one particular moment, that one particular action by the man ends up defining so much about who that girl is going to be in the future. Now that we've talked a bit about the issue, I want to lend my opinion on what I feel the real root cause of this is. In my opinion, I think the problem is misogyny, which can be described as having contempt for women or hating women. I believe society hates women. We hate women. You and I hate women. And I know you might be saying, Francis, no, I do not hate women. I support women. I even have a very cute girlfriend or wife or sister. I love them. But that is not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about having a sexual attraction to females. I'm talking about something much deeper. Our society, especially in Africa, is not built for women. No. Women in African societies, especially in the olden days, were seen as nothing. They were seen as things. They were seen as wombs to just give birth and stay in the kitchen. Your opinions do not matter. If you're a woman, there were a lot of things in society you just couldn't be a part of. And me as a man sometimes wonders what it feels like to be a woman, right? Because once you're born as a woman, you simply cannot escape that fate. People, men, big men in society will try to take advantage of you. Whatever you say does not really matter. You're not even allowed to share your opinions when men are talking. So this creates a culture where the issues of women are not prioritized. It creates a culture where the men in society are able to do whatever they want with very little consequences. The men can abuse the young ones. They can do whatever they want, have as many wives as they want, and as long as they are men, we are allowed to get away with it. And in many of the cases about assault, especially when kids are involved, you realize there was a woman enabler, maybe a wife, an auntie, somebody. There's always a woman who was either told or saw what was going on but simply looked the other way. And many people will blame the woman. They'll say, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? But like I said, misogyny. Once you're born a woman, issues concerning you are just not significant. And also, women have been made to feel powerless. And the scenario I just described, where the mother or somebody else bore witness to the crime, let's say the perpetrator was her husband. Now she has to think, do I go out into the world or go to the police and expose what my husband has done? If I do that, people are going to look at my family in a certain way. People are going to look at me in a certain way. People are going to look at my husband in a certain way. And if my husband is arrested, I will have to suffer, because in most African societies, the women do not work. The man is the breadwinner. He's the main source of income of the family. If you eliminate the family, she's going to starve. So this woman is simply not going to throw away all the hard work and all the years she has spent with this man just because her own daughter was abused by this man. Do you see how the whole thing is? So what the woman will do instead is to punish the girl. She will insult her and make her feel even smaller. So that little girl will grow up into a scarred and confused adult. But here's the thing, the mother might really, really love her child, but she will not be willing to sacrifice all that for the child to have justice. So it just keeps going on, generation after generation. There's no healing. That little child is going to become a woman, and it might happen to her daughter. The only thing she knows is what her mother taught her. So she might also reprimand the child, and the thing just keeps going on. So now that we've identified the problem, how do we solve it? How do we make sure we are able to protect our kids? Because look, we are growing up and we are eventually going to have our kids. Those kids, whether I like it or not, will have male leaders. You might not really care about it today, but wait until, God forbid, your daughter comes home weeping because one of her teachers or mentors has abused her. Wait until someone strips away the innocence and light out of your little daughter. What are you going to do then? It's better if we prevent it than wait until it happens and deal with it then. The first thing that comes to mind is almost impossible. To be restructuring our entire society and the way we think. This would be the most effective way of dealing with this once and for all. We will all have to take women seriously, especially as men. We have to respect their thoughts, their opinions, and their feelings. We should stop looking at them as just objects. But that isn't the only way. I feel another reason why these things happen, why assaults happen, is the women, the maternal figures do not really educate their young children about these things. And I get it because they are trying to preserve their innocence. But we live in a society where that innocence could be taken away from them like that. So which would you rather have? Making them aware of the possibilities and guiding them on how they are going to leave that situation if they ever saw it going there, or waiting for them to be abused and having to go through that entire crazy process the rest of their life. The best option to me is to educate the children. And here's the most popular thing you're going to see online. Men should do this. Why are men so terrible? Men are the problem. Men this, men that. Men should learn to control themselves, which I agree with totally. But do you think these men do not know that? Everybody knows what they are doing. These men are aware that they should not be doing the things they're doing, but they do it anyway. So the best thing, in my opinion, is for both the men and women actually to teach their kids these things and how to not get themselves in those situations. And I'm not saying we should just allow men to do whatever they like. No, that is far from what I'm saying. For the grown-ass men, I don't really know what can be done about them, except for serious regulations to be put in place in schools and perpetrators to be punished severely. And these things normally develop in men during puberty. We've all seen several movies where there'll be a young boy, maybe 14, 15, and they'll have a house help. Then the young boy in the middle of the night creeps into the woman's or the young girl's room and tries to do something. And when the house help reports what has happened to the parents, she is likely to be insulted and sacked. And this is not only exclusive to house helps. This happens with cousins and it gets weird. If we want to prevent these things to happen in the future, whenever a case like that is brought to the attention of the parents, they are supposed to punish that child. They are supposed to find ways to make sure that boy child never does that. And that is the tough part of parenting. How do you do that? How are you going to help your male child overcome their sexual urges? And that is a whole other video. So this journey for the better future we all want for our kids and sisters and mothers will require so much from all of us. And that is all I have to say about this unfortunate topic. If you found it educative, please remember to like the video, comment your thoughts. I would really like to know what you think, how you think we can move forward and be better as a group, as a race. How male children can be guided around their sexual urges. Thank you for watching and I'll see you another time. Bye bye.